After making a decision to live on purpose, I went into coaching and was really fortunate to join Audrey Page. And Audrey herself was really the doyen of that industry. She created it. She saw men particularly hiding in Hyde Park. Maybe that's why they call it Hyde Park.
That was a good dad joke.
Good dad joke. They lost their jobs, but they couldn't tell their wives, and so they kept turning up in the city, pretending to move forward. And she said, well, what are you doing? Why aren't you getting support? And so she lobbied corporates to give support, coaching programs, severance pays and all that sort of thing. So joining Audrey Page, literally I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in the diary, and I got a unique perspective on people's careers. You could see the patterns. I could see the patterns that were there. The patterns were the majority would fall into their career. They didn't intentionally choose it. The majority would not stop, and this was a forced stop for them, long enough to ask some key questions like, what are you naturally good at? What do you love? They really struggled to answer those. And the third is that when people are going through this transition, their method of designing the next phase of their life is to look on, seek and hope.
People leave a bank, they leave a consulting firm, they leave a telco, they leave an FMC, they leave a insert to go to a competitor. It's really exciting for the first 3 months. New car park, everyone's nice to you. Claire on front desk gives you bickies when you come in at 11 a.m. That didn't happen at my former employer, Burto. And then it kicks in at about that 3-month mark. After 100 days, you're part of the furniture, and how you've shown up in the first 100 days is how everyone sees you, whether you behave like that or not for the next 10 years. It's so easy for people just to go, I am a insert title, insert industry, and I'm just going to jump to the next one. And I see people doing that for decades, and they're miserable. They just hide the misery because every now and then they've got a little hiccup called a redundancy, called a promotion, called sideways promotion, and then they get to, again, that grey zone. You see that a lot.
That's right, yeah. And there's, for anyone who's listening to this who's considering, what should I do next, there's two approaches. You can be outside in about it. So what outside in means, you look for something that's available and try to squeeze or fit into it. And that's the seek approach. Okay, so, and stats show that only 0 to 10% probability your next role is coming from that anyway. But that's a mindset and an approach that a lot of people take. Inside out is, all right, you're the designer. Let's start with your design. Let's start with you. Okay, and you've really got to stop. You can't just keep going. You've really got to stop long enough to answer those key questions. And if someone says, okay, well, I should do the inside out approach, I know, but there's a job going over here, and I say, I'll see you in a few years. We'll be back here, because that person knows deep down, really it's not in alignment with where I want to be.